Hey, well, got another one here. I'm recording this on the same day as the last one I did. Trying to play a little catch up, like I've said before. I was trying to, how do you say, trying to catch up because the week of the 4th of July was a terrible week, but I'm not going to go into all the famine and pestilence. It's nothing you need to know. Uh, anyway, regardless, uh, movies that got to me tonight. I'm going to talk to you about one called Irreversible. All right, so I had heard a lot of hype about this movie, and I was just bored and drunk one morning after my graveyard shift at work. And so one or another of the channels we had back at that time was showing Irreversible. I think it was Netflix. But so I decided, okay, well, it's got a rep to it. It's supposedly absolutely no fun, which can sometimes be a lot of fun. And so I watched this movie, and it starts off, very creepily with this two guys sitting around. I think at least one of them's naked, and he's babbling about this story about violating his daughter and having her jump out a window or something like that. And and then there's a commotion outside at this gay BDSM club called the Rectum, and you see a couple of guys getting dragged out of there. One's coming out in an ambulance, and the other's like getting arrested. That goes back, and this whole movie runs backwards. And cinematography is great, if terrifying. It goes back to these guys tearing around the streets, and someone named Alex has been hurt, and so these two guys, Marcus and Pierre, are running around, and Pierre is absolutely furious, and he's looking to get somebody named Latania, which I guess translated means the tapeworm, and a more appropriate name was never given. But they're running around looking for him, and they find out that they basically beat out of a prostitute, that he's in a club called the Rectum. So they Shanghai a cab and end up in the Rectum, where they end up going around looking for Latania and trying to start a fight with him. And one guy, after Pierre, I think is Marcus. It's Marcus, is basically threatening. He's trying to get in a fight with this guy he believes to be Latania, and ends up kind of getting the worse for wear. And the cinematography, by the way, is insane. It's like veering all over the place with this heavy synthesizer music that's just droning away and throbbing away. And it doesn't even look like a club, okay? It looks like caverns in hell. And the camera work is all just seesawing around, so it's very disorienting. But so Marcus is about to get the crap kicked out of him, probably about to get raped, and then suddenly Pierre jumps in. Pierre jumps in and says, "No, no, you're not going to do that to him," and he beats the guy down and takes a big, one of those big fire extinguishers and bashes the guy's head in. And it's with the red lighting and everything. It's lurid and disturbing, and under the circumstances, looks fairly realistic. And it pans out, and you see all these people, and you see this one guy just kind of standing there watching it, nodding and smiling. More on him later. Anyway, so this is what got these guys arrested. The whole movie runs in reverse. So you go back, And you see just these guys capers across town, and you get to hear more about, you don't know whether Alex is going to live or die or anything. So then it goes back to Alex, who's played by Monica Bellucci, and she's going through this pedestrian walkway, you know, on her way to the subway or whatever, this kind of underground pedestrian passage where she sees this guy just beating the crap out of this trans prostitute, and suddenly he turns on her, and this is the infamous whaddya, and you realize as you're seeing this, wait, so they didn't kill whaddya back at that club. They killed some other guy, and this first guy, this one guy you saw sitting in the corner, nodding and smiling, that was whaddya. Totally got away with it. And so he gets a hold of Alex and basically rapes her. And I'm not going to go into the gory deeds. Okay. Little aside sermon here, you know, because I'm probably going to get this thing demonetized because I said the R word, you know, the other R word. And let me just say, you know, I don't care because I've never made a dime off this shit anyway, never really tried. That's not what it's about for me. But, you know, I just want to make a brief commentary about the infantilization of language on the internet between, I don't know, having to say SA instead of just saying someone got raped. Why can't we talk about realistic adult situations and realistic problems, you know, without having to be babies and just spell things out like you're a baby. It's the same thing with when they call committing suicide unaliving yourself. Fuck off. You know, I hate that shit. You know, you will never see that with me. You know, I mean, I don't give a rat's ass if this gets demonetized because I probably wasn't ever going to make a dime off the damn thing anyway. So, okay, finis rantus, all right? You know, just a slight aside, you know, for my loyal customers, you know, all 5 of you. Okay, so for my money, that scene is possibly more excruciating than you know, I spit on your grave, which admittedly is extreme and it's pretty bad, and I mean, I don't care for it. But don't care for the scene, don't care for the act. You know, I actually enjoyed the movie, you know, especially the last third of the movie a great deal. But anyway, so this poor girl gets this done to her, and it's horrible. And then it goes back, and you get to see her life. It goes back further. You know, she's at a club with both Marcus and Pierre, and you know, like Pierre gets or Marcus gets, you know, is drinking and snorting coke and all that, and she's getting a little upset by it, which is when she leaves and goes into that tunnel and gets raped. Then you go back and you get to see her life with Marcus, and you get to see her life with Marcus, and you get to see all the good stuff and the bad stuff. You get to know Pierre. Pierre is her ex-boyfriend, but you know, they invite him to go hang out with them, and you know, he and Marcus obviously get along famously, and everyone has a good time up till Marcus kind of starts drinking way too much and, you know, snorting coke and kind of getting her upset. But you kind of go through her life, and you kind of go through their lives backwards through the movie, and you get to really wow, these people are really likable. I just, I'm watching these people, and it really sucks what's going to happen to them. And then the very last thing you see in the movie is like chronologically the very first thing you see in a movie, and it's Alex alone taking a pregnancy test, finding out that she's pregnant with Marcus's baby, and she just is feeling wonderful. She goes out to the park and just kind of lays down in the grass, and the camera picks up and moves away, zooms away, and there you are watching her, happy to be a mother to be, with this, just wonderful outlook on life. Everything around her is beautiful, and you watch this beautiful final scene, knowing everything horrible that's going to happen to her, and her fiance, and her ex-boyfriend, and everybody, as the movie progresses. And I walked away from that, and I just felt destroyed. And it was just like, wow, I can't recommend this thing to anyone under any circumstance. This, just, from the point of, even to the point of view, if you want to look at it on a visceral level, it's like, okay, and so they get revenge, but they get revenge on the wrong guy. And so you watch that, and it's kind of like, man, wow, there is no hope. Wow. Why did I watch that? Why did I watch that? I feel really bad now. And, I walked away from that. I was like, God damn, I hated that. And I thought about it after a while, and, well made, well shot, very mind melty. And I thought about that for a long time, and I just thought, God damn, that movie is fucking brilliant. That was fucking brilliant. And, yeah, okay, it's a feel-bad journey, but, very, a very effective feel-bad journey that will scrumble you up good. And I do recommend that. Irreversible, folks.